Now here's another one of those things, and the first thing that came into my mind was Webbot. Webbot came into my mind when I read this. Exclusive. This was from yesterday, actually. 18 hours ago. Japan nuclear body says radioactive water at Fukushima is now in an emergency state. As of right now. Red alert emergency. And I read last night that TEPCO is also basically somewhat admitted there's something along with that Fukushima disaster now that they've been trying to fix this whole time that is now out of their control. It's beyond us. We can't fix this. We don't know what to do. That's basically what has just been said by TEPCO. Now this is TEPCO, again, the company that, kind of like the BP oil spill. BP, in 2010, as you all know, had that big oil disaster in the Gulf of Mexico. And by the way, strangely enough, they implicated Halliburton. You know that company, former Vice President Dick Cheney, scumbag, ran that company, etc. They had all the war profiteering accounts. It was a no-bid contract in the early part of the 2000s with the war in the Middle East and all that stuff. And they also had something to do with the platform or something on the oil rig, in which they've just very, very recently settled in court. They have to admit guilt. That's the first time. And I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but they got nailed for it. So just want to throw that out there. But it's kind of like BP, where we had to look at BP's cameras underwater, and then they just kept replaying them. Remember that? They were looping them. And people call it on. Hey, you're looping the cameras. Show us the real thing. Show us live what's happening under the water, this big blowout. Oh, okay, all right, you caught us. Okay, you caught us. Now we'll go ahead and show you. And then they'd have, camera 7 blacked out. So it's offline right now for maintenance. Yeah, maintenance. Now camera 3 is offline. Oh, but camera 9 and 10 are online, and all they're doing is sitting at the bottom of the ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, facing sand on the ground. Not facing the whale. Oh, here you go, America, bozos. Here's your live feed. So we allowed the company that caused the problem to tell us we've got it under control, we're working on things, here's our data, here's our information to you of how we've got it under control. Trust us. So TEPCO, the nuclear power company, privately owned of course, who's been in charge of the Fukushima disaster since 2011 when that nuclear plant got nailed by the tidal waves and whatnot from the earthquake, has been telling us all along, we got it under control. No, it's not a meltdown. No, it's not a meltdown. Okay, maybe it was a meltdown. Same thing over and over again. Cover up, cover up, cover up until you can't cover it up anymore. So this is from 2011. We are now in 2013. So we're past 2 years now. And just like all of us have said who follow this stuff, that disaster is not over. There's no way they got it contained. It was absolutely meltdown, and the core or whatever has gone down deep into the earth. That's it. So now that has happened, that was a long time ago too, or a year ago that it finally came out, whatever. They said, well, we've still got it under control. It's all right, it's all right. Now today and yesterday, red alert. We don't have control. We've lost control. State of emergency declared. Once again, Fukushima. Now, where the Webbot comes in on this, I remember. Well, hold on. Was it the nuclear disaster or was it the Gulf of Mexico thing? Trying to think now. Hold on a second. One of those two events. The Webbot said something about 19 months later it would be like back in the spotlight. You know, I want to say that might have been the that might have actually been the oil well problem in 2010. 19 months later or something. And I know there have been especially one time in particular where there was a big 2-3 mile sheen of oil coming from that location. Oh no, it's not us, it's another well, and they hushed that up and got it out of the way. That was way later. Maybe that was it. I was thinking the Fukushima thing for a second was the 19 months later. It'll be back in the spotlight. It was actually the oil well. So this isn't, I thought I was gonna give you a little bonus, a little double whammy in a video, but I'm gonna have to retract that. It was not the Webbot. that said that regarding Fukushima. It was the oil well disaster. So, aside from the webbot, that actually doesn't even matter. What matters is that we have a nuclear nightmare on our hands that has been on our hands for the last 2 years. And just the other day, let's say 2 weeks ago, I should say, or so, I did that video where I was talking about the airline, the guy on the airline, just a passenger, coming from like another country for sure. I'm trying to think, it was somewhere in South America maybe, and was coming back into America, and his Geiger counter or radiation detector was like, you know, 100 counts per minute, or 100 CPM is what is kind of known as like a, not a disastrous red alert, but health advisory. There's a problem. Health department's supposed to alert the people. Hey, if it sustains this level for a month or so, I don't know the exact time frame, but I do remember doing research. It's a little bit of a length of time. If it sustains it for a length of time, we need to get people out of here. At that point, it's not going to be good for their health. But it could be a 2 or 3 months kind of a time frame. That's at 100 CPMs. This guy in this plane was showing, I think, over 1,000 counts per minute during his flight. And as they descended, it started drastically going down to normal, down to normal, down to normal. Then they landed and it was back down to completely normal. Below 100 for sure. And again, below 100 is what they say is safe, you know, whatever. So it's interesting that he picked that up now, 2 years later after Fukushima. And it was worse now than I think anyone else has ever reported, including directly right after Fukushima happened in 2011, as well as months after that. I don't think anyone had readings that high in an airplane. I went and visited Pastor Dowell a couple times and brought my detector and tested it on the plane. And while, yes, it did go up, it wasn't that much, it wasn't real high. And by the way, it is actually normal to have higher levels of radiation as you ascend or go higher in the sky. Not deadly, but it will go up and it's normal. And I didn't see anything out of the ordinary, so I didn't have a video to talk about any kind of bad news or nothing. So that was it. Now this guy, again, this is just a few weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago or so, on his flight back, and he shows you his readings, his pictures of his reading right there live, basically. Well, not live, but you know what I mean. In the video in the blog post that I read. So now there's like a red alert over in Fukushima, and even TEPCO, the one who has covered up just like BP did the oil spill, cover up, it's fine, we got it, just leave us alone, we got this, don't come in here, we don't need government here, we'll just tell you what we're doing and we'll tell you our results. Again, a big lie. So it is now in a red alert level, and even the cover-up company, known to be covering it up from day one, is admitting we got a problem here that is actually out of our hands, out of our control. We can't fix this. And a deadly, devastating amount of radiation is now leaking directly into the ocean, apparently, is what the issue is, and they can't stop it. And I just think of those old, you know, Book of Revelations, prophecies, you know, Nostradamus, you name it. Mother Shipton, I think, also from way back in the day, you know, hundreds of years ago. I think they all talked about, you know, the oil, black, sea life, you know, devastation, that kind of stuff. And it is very interesting to see that we had this major disaster that everyone has kind of forgotten about. Oh, that's old news, it's fixed, they figured it out. Sure, some people probably got radiation sickness nearby in Japan and nearby Fukushima, but it's over and done with. It's okay now. And in fact, it's not okay. It has just begun. And if you're eating seafood out of the ocean that is caught, and trust me, Japan has a major fishing industry, and yes, they will ship stuff over here and other countries. Seems to me like we're gonna have some major problems on our hands. The only thing that might be safe is like farm-raised shrimp or farm-raised fish or whatever. That might be an industry you may want to start looking into, where you might not see a recession. Because if you can't fish out of the ocean here in the near future, you're gonna have to be fishing out of your backyard in like a, you know, a big pool or something that you've converted into a fish farm. And there could be some profit to be made there. You never know. That's all I got for you today. Take care.